Welcome to the Lone Wolf Paranormal Podcast. My name is Mike, the Fallen Angel, and today I want to have a special show basically talking about myself and the experiences I went through that got me involved in the paranormal. But first things first, I wanted to wish everybody the happy holidays. I know Christmas is coming up and Thanksgiving just passed, so I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. I know the last podcast we did have two people from the San Antonio Dead Seekers, who was Janie and Junior, and I want to give a shout out to them for coming on board on the show and sharing their experiences. We're going to have a special podcast coming soon this month where we're going to introduce the entire San Antonio Dead Seekers Paranormal Group, all the members that are in there. I believe there's currently 8 people and there are 10. We're going to go ahead and interview each and every one individual and get to know the group. They're a great group of people. So if you guys have any paranormal issues that you need to get or any investigations of any problems, you can go ahead and look them up. They're the San Antonio Dead Seekers. You can find them on Facebook, and just go ahead and send them a message, and they will get right with you. These guys are great people. They do a great job. We've worked in the past, and go ahead and shout out to them. So let's go ahead and get things started. So questions I get all the time is, what got me involved in the paranormal? Well, as growing up as a child, I used to see a lot of things. I think the first experience I had was when I was 4. Um, I remember I used to be sleep in the room, and sometimes I would sleep with my brothers, and you know, I would have to get up and wake up in the middle of the night, and sometimes I would hear like Indian chants and voices, and I would see dark shadows, and sometimes I'd see even people in my room. Uh, what's crazy, I think the best experience I had is when I used to be I used to play alone as a child, and I remember it was during the day. I was about 8, and we had a backyard. We would always play in the backyard back in the day. We would that's all we did, and I remember one time I was playing and I saw like an old man that was always in my backyard. He was always with me when I would play, and he would always talk to me and always was always there. And at some point in my life, I thought he was related to me. I thought he was our next door neighbor. I remember seeing this guy throughout all my young years. I think till about 11 years old is when I stopped actually seeing this guy. He would come and visit me when I would play. He would just, I mean, I would see him just pop out of nowhere, and he would come out and talk to me. And I remember seeing him talking about life and talking about always staying in school. And until this day, I haven't really seen this guy, and I can just remember a glimpse of him. He was a nice spirit. I mean, at that time I didn't know he was a spirit. I thought he was my next door neighbor. But that was one of my experiences I had. Another experience I had, I think the biggest one I had is when recently when I was about in my 20s, I was 21. Um, I was with my ex girlfriend at that time, and we were about to go out to go eat. And I remember her house was very active. We would always see, I would see shadows there when I would spend the night. We would, sometimes during the day, I would see and hear things. And I remember one time, I think this was the big night when I actually got possessed. And I know a lot of people don't believe in possession, and I was one of those people that never thought of it. But I remember one night, we were about to go out to eat, and I know that at that time of that month, I was going through a rough time in my life where I didn't really know what I wanted in my life. I was going to school. I was At that time I was having some family problems, and I wasn't really happy. I believe that night, me and my ex were about to go out to eat, and all I remember is I was in the house, and we were about to go. Got my keys, and I always had this habit of jumping off her steps, like her porch. So I remember is open. We're about to go eat. I think we were about to go eat steak, right? So I was really like pumped up for that, and I remember just jumping off the porch, and everything blacked out. So all I remember is like being in a deep sleep, and I would just have these visions of seeing myself like a limpless body, and I was in and out, and it felt as if my spirit was flying over my body, and I didn't really see anything. I didn't feel anything bad. I mean, the only thing I heard were like voices like from the other side, and I felt like I had passed away. And it was very peaceful. It wasn't really nothing bad. So at that time, when all that was going on, um, my ex was telling me that I was like a different person. Like I was cussing at her, and I was started foaming out of the mouth, and I was actually looking outside the car. All this happened when I was running to my car. So as soon as I got in my car, that's when everything blanked out. So I was foaming through my mouth. I was cussing at her. I was giving her attitude, and like I was just staring out the window at nothing. So apparently she freaked out. She had called her brother at that time, and they both thought I was having a seizure. So they took me home, and she only lived like 4 blocks down from me. So when they took me home, I mean, like I said, that's when I was having those visions of in and out where I would see myself. And then finally, I woke up, and I remember the ambulance was there. I stopped breathing for about 5 minutes. They resuscitated me, and they were about to take me down to the hospital. So at that point, I refused to go, and they went ahead and left me alone, the paramedics, and they took off. And I remember just trying to get up, and I was shocked because I remembered like my ex girlfriend, my mom, and my dad were at that time they were crying because they thought I passed on. So when I got up to get up out of like excitement, because I was freaking out because I didn't know what was going on. Fell straight on my face, and at that point I couldn't feel my legs. So all my energy was drained from, I guess, from that possession. So like for 2 days I couldn't really walk. And after all that happened, they took me to the hospital. I think after like a couple of days from there to go get a physical and get my head scan, and nothing was there was nothing that bothered me. I mean, I had no health issues, especially now. I mean, I never had any history of health issues or seizures or anything. So that was unexplained. Doctors couldn't really explain anything. They just probably thought I just had a seizure or I just fainted. But that was my first and possibly my best experience I had. Like I said, what my ex at that point was describing, that I was talking tongue, talking with attitude, talking like a different person. I was so angry and so vile, and when foaming out of the mouth. That's kind of crazy. I mean, I don't know how to explain that, but as I read other positions, from other stories from other people, and it pretty much just sums it up as that's what happened to me. So that was probably the one of the experiences that actually changed my life. That's what got me involved in the paranormal. Even to this day, I still the effects of the possession. I do feel that I am marked, and I do feel that whatever possessed me still in me, but it protects me. It makes sure that any other spirits, any other people that try to hurt me, it lashes out, and it lashes out through my anger. And people do see things when I get upset. They tell me they see the other side of me that they never seen before. So I still feel that it's still connected. It protects me. It's not as evil as people think it is. I know. I mean, I feel like it always protects me from negativity. It always keeps me positive. Like I said, I don't know what it is, but I do feel like I'm protected. Um, I just wanted to share that experience, and there's a lot more experiences I could share with you. But I plan to write a book on my life and the paranormal experiences I had. I just thought I would share it to all the listeners out there that keep asking me. A lot of my friends at work, a lot of my friends in my real life, they keep asking me what got me involved in the paranormal and why am I so interested in it. My job is to actually go out there and help people and find out what's going on and try to bring happiness in their life. Because, like I said, I've been to paranormal investigations. I have a lot of them, a lot of experiences. I've seen what it does to families and to people, and it's kind of sad and it's kind of frightening to see what these people go through. I know we see it on TV and we do hear stories from other people, but when you're actually seeing it live and seeing what people are going through, actually hearing their stories, it makes you think that we're not alone. And I'm telling you out of the truth out of my heart that it is true. And a lot of people don't want to come forward because they think they may think they're crazy, or they may think they may be on some sort of drug, or whatever. But point is, it is true, and I just thought I would share that with you. And like I said, we're gonna have more investigations coming soon. I plan to have more evidence as I go along with my friends, San Antonio Dead Seekers. Also, my good buddy of mine, Art and Dominica, they are the people that actually pushed me to start podcasting. They're gonna start their paranormal group soon, so and I know they went ahead and told me it was cool to join them. So I can't wait to start going on investigation with them. I thank you for being a follower, and I also appreciate you for believing in me and believing in this podcast. Like I said, we're going to continue sharing content. I'm still working on getting more equipment so that I can do more live video chats, more EVPs. But until then, like I said, I just wanted to come out, share a podcast with you, share a little bit about what happened. Like I said, there's plenty more experiences I have, but that's something I plan to write in my future book. And I want to give a shout out to all the people out there that like my page and that are listening. Like I said, feel free to send your best experiences. If you want to have a podcast with me, you're more than welcome to come to my show. We can do live video chats if you want on a podcast. Also, you can send it to my email, which is mikegara2025@gmail.com. Go ahead and send me your experiences, and I'm trying to reach out to people all around the world, not just Texas. But please go ahead and submit your stories, your best experiences, and I'll be more than happy to read them out on the podcast, and also give you a shout out to the people that do so. Like I said, I want to go ahead and shout out to the San Antonio Dead Seekers for actually coming on the podcast, and for believing in me, and for also, inviting me to their future investigations. And also, they are in the works, so please go ahead and go to their Facebook, their YouTube channels. They got a lot of content. They do plan to have more investigations coming up in the new year of 2020, and I'm more than happy to work with these people. We're gonna have some great investigations coming up. We're gonna have great podcasts. We're gonna bring a lot of evidence to you. We plan to work together, and they're my family, and they're really good people. Also, want to give a shout out to Dominique and Art for always pushing and believing in me. Also to Steve Pena, my acting coach, and all the people out there that are listening. Thank you for being a fan, and I promise you we're gonna have more content coming soon. I plan to have a podcast every week. And I want to hopefully I can get more people to submit, short stories. People want to come along my podcast, and like I said, I'm more than happy to bring you along, and we can share. You can share your best experiences. Like I said, I want to make sure that we want to bring out all this paranormal stuff out to the light. I want people to know that they're not crazy, and it is real. And I know people have different beliefs and religion backgrounds, but my job here is to make sure that we help these people, and hopefully they can understand that paranormal is real. Things do happen to certain people. I mean, like I said, it's not all fun and games. All the paranormal investigators that actually do go out, sometimes they are putting their lives in danger. I mean, we do have after effects. I've seen it, so I just thought I'd go out there and share that. Once again, I want to thank you all for tuning in tonight. We have more podcasts coming this week. Like I said, please feel free to submit your stories, experiences to me, to my email at mikegara2025@gmail.com, and I'll be more than happy to read it. And once again, I want to go ahead and wish everybody happy holidays. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving, and looking forward to the 2020. And everybody have a good night, and we will hear from you on the next podcast. And always remember, people, you're never alone.